Israel has launched what it calls a preemptive strike on Iran.
Short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations.
February 28th, 2026, 2:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The silence of the Oval Office is shattered not by a phone call, but by the mechanical certainty of an order already in flight. For decades, the shadow war between Washington, Jerusalem, and Tehran was fought in the dark, through Stuxnet code, whispered assassinations, and proxy skirmishes in the desert. But in the last 48 hours, the shadow has vanished. A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. The imminent threat described by the commander-in-chief is the culmination of a diplomatic freefall. For 48 hours, the world held its collective breath as a final ultimatum from Washington ticked toward zero. The demand was absolute: the total dismantling of Iran's nuclear infrastructure and the surrender of its ballistic inventory. Tehran's response was not a signature on a treaty, but a darkening of its own skies. This is the anatomy of a catastrophe, a minute-by-minute breakdown of the most significant military escalation in the Middle East since the turn of the century. From the frantic halls of Geneva to the fire-swept streets of Tehran, we bear witness to the bravery of those caught in the crossfire and the resolve of the powers determined to reshape the map. This is Iran versus the United States and Israel, the last 48 hours. The ultimatum, February 26th to 27th, 9 a.m., Geneva, Switzerland. The third round of nuclear talks in Geneva begins not with a handshake, but with a ledger of grievances. U.S. special envoys present a document that intelligence insiders describe as a surrender mandate. The technical data is cold, precise, and non-negotiable. Iran is required to export its entire stockpile of 60% enriched uranium, material just a technical breath away from weapons grade. They are to permit 24-hour, anywhere, anytime inspections by the IAEA. Most critically, they must raise the underground fortifications at Fordow and Natanz. To the diplomats in the room, these were variables on a page, but to the souls living under the mounting tension in Iran, these were the final grains of sand in an hourglass. Our collective memory of the 2025 skirmishes served as a haunting prologue. No one believed this would end with a pen. 11:30 p.m., Tehran, Iran. Meanwhile, 3,000 miles to the east, the city of Tehran is a living entity, pulsating with a feverish internal conflict. The regime is not just facing an external armada, it is battling its own streets. For weeks, anti-government protests have surged, fueled by economic collapse and a longing for reform. Human rights agencies estimate that thousands of souls have been lost in the domestic crackdown. The air in the capital is thick, not yet with smoke, but with the impending chaos of a government pushed into a corner. February 27th, 8 a.m., Washington, D.C. The sun rises over the Potomac, illuminating a city transformed into a war footing. Sources within the Pentagon confirm that Operation Epic Fury has moved from a theoretical contingency to an active launch sequence. The logistics are staggering. 2 carrier strike groups, led by the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford, have taken positions in the North Arabian Sea. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, the ghosts of the American arsenal, depart from Whiteman Air Force Base. The warning signs were no longer subtle, they were sirens.
3 p.m., Tel Aviv, Israel. In Israel, the atmosphere is one of grim preparation. The Ministry of Defense activates Operation Roaring Lion. This is the objective authority of modern warfare. Arrow 3 interceptors are raised to vertical launch positions. The Haifa refinery, a vital artery of the Israeli economy, begins an emergency shutdown. The streets of Tel Aviv, usually vibrant and defiant, become hollowed out. Families descend into reinforced shelters, carrying bottled water and transistor radios, waiting for the sky to break. There is a terrible symmetry in the fear shared by a mother in Tabriz and a father in Haifa. The resolve of leaders is often paid for in the currency of civilian terror. The Blitz, February 28th, 2 a.m., Tehran, Iran. The darkness over Tehran is punctured. The first wave of strikes is a masterclass in synchronized destruction. F-35I Adir fighters from the Israeli Air Force, operating in total coordination with U.S. assets, penetrate the most sophisticated air defenses the Islamic Republic possesses. The primary targets are not just machines, but the very mind of the state. 2:10 a.m., downtown Tehran. Explosions rock the district housing the compound of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Satellite imagery later reveals the structural integrity of the complex has been compromised. In an instant, the communication lines of the IRGC are severed. General Ali Shamkhani, a pillar of the security apparatus, is reported among the casualties. The precision is surgical. GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000-pound bunker busters, are deployed against the enrichment halls at Natanz. These facilities, buried deep beneath mountains of granite, are subjected to kinetic energy equivalent to a localized earthquake. The goal is not just damage, it is obliteration, a term used by the White House to describe the permanent removal of Iran's nuclear path. 2:30 a.m., Minab, southern Iran. But in the fog of war, the surgical often becomes the heinous. A strike intended for a nearby coastal missile battery reportedly hits a girls' school in the city of Minab. The judiciary in Tehran reports that 85 souls, most of them children, were lost in the inferno. The dust from the collapse sucks all saturation from the streets, leaving a monochromatic landscape of grief. The bravery of local first responders, digging through the rubble with bare hands while the armada still circled overhead, stands as a testament to the human spirit amidst the catastrophe. Meanwhile, the Persian Gulf. The meanwhile transition reveals a theater of war spanning 1,000 miles. Iran does not remain passive. Even as its command structure reels, the retaliatory reflex kicks in. From mobile launchers hidden in the Zagros Mountains, Iran fires a swarm of ballistic missiles. They are aimed at U.S. bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait. They are aimed at the heart of Israel. The counterstrike and the chaos. 3:15 a.m., Ashkelon and Haifa, Israel. The night sky over Israel becomes a canvas of interceptor trails and terminal kinetic impacts. In Haifa, the Iron Dome and Arrow systems are pushed to their breaking point. While many projectiles are vaporized in the upper atmosphere, several evade the shield. Explosions shatter the peace of the northern port. Smoke plumes rise over the skyline, visible for miles. 89 civilians are treated for injuries. The trauma to the national psyche, however, is immeasurable. 4 a.m., Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The conflict bleeds across borders. In the United Arab Emirates, air defenses intercept a wave of drones. Debris falls over the Palm Jumeirah, sparking fires that light up the luxury skyline in a morbid display. One person is killed by falling shrapnel. Iran's Revolutionary Guard broadcasts a high-frequency warning to all vessels. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's most vital oil artery, is now closed. This is the impending chaos the global markets feared. 20% of the world's oil supply is now held hostage by the tides of war. 5 a.m., Washington, D.C. Back in the United States, the political fallout begins. While the military operation continues, a storm gathers in the halls of Congress. Lawmakers condemn the strikes as unauthorized acts of war, citing a breach of the 1973 War Powers Resolution. President Trump, however, remains undeterred. He issues a direct appeal to the Iranian people, urging them to take over your government and promising immunity to IRGC members who lay down their arms. It is a gamble of historic proportions, a call for regime change in the middle of a hot war. The decapitation and the defiance. 9 a.m., the command bunkers. As the sun climbs over a smoldering Tehran, the true scale of the decapitation strike becomes clear. Intelligence reports suggest that the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, has been cut off from his command hierarchy. For the first time since 1979, the central nervous system of the Islamic Republic is failing. Yet defiance remains the only currency in the bunkers. The IRGC launches a second, more desperate wave. These are the suicide swarms, thousands of low-cost drones launched from civilian trucks and fishing dhows. They don't seek tactical victory, they seek to saturate the multi-billion-dollar defense systems of the West until the magazines run dry. 12 p.m., the global markets. Meanwhile, in London and New York, the economic catastrophe begins to manifest. Brent crude oil prices skyrocket, breaching $150 a barrel in hours. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz has essentially placed a tourniquet on the global economy. 3 p.m., the human cost. The Iranian Red Crescent reports that over 200 souls have been lost in the initial 24 hours of strikes, with nearly 1,000 wounded. In Tabriz, a 32-year-old mother named Minu speaks to international media through a satellite link, her voice trembling. "We are scared. My children are shaking. We have nowhere to go." Her words are a haunting reminder that while the objective authority calculates targets, the empathetic witness sees only the faces of the innocent.
The precipice. As the first 48 hours draw to a close, the world stands at a crossroads that our ancestors would recognize all too well. The technical superiority of the joint U.S.-Israeli strike has crippled Iran's nuclear ambitions for years, perhaps decades. But the cost is written in the blood of schoolgirls in Menab and the smoldering ruins of Haifa. The objective authority of the mission has been met. The empathetic witness of history, however, remains troubled. The Iranian regime, though bloodied, remains defiant. The supreme leader is reported alive, moved to a secure, hardened location. The missiles continue to fly from hidden silos. The resolve of the vicious group in Tehran has not yet broken, it has hardened. We must ask ourselves, as we look upon the images of Tehran in flames and Tel Aviv in shelters, is this the end of a nuclear threat or the beginning of a regional fire that no treaty can extinguish? Our collective memory tells us that wars are easy to start, but they have a haunting tendency to outlive those who declare them. The Armada remains on station. The sirens in Jerusalem continue to wail, and in the silence between explosions, the people of the Middle East wait for a dawn that feels further away than ever. As the smoke clears over the Persian Gulf, one question remains: what happens in the next 48 hours?